The air crackled with tension. The sky above was a swirling mass of dark clouds, mirroring the turmoil below. Every soldier could feel the weight of the impending battle pressing down on them, a palpable sense of dread and anticipation. The battlefield was eerily silent, save for the occasional clink of armor and the rustle of banners in the wind. It was a moment suspended in time, where the fate of nations hung in the balance. Two armies faced each other across a battlefield. The dusty plains stretched out between them, a no-man's land that would soon be stained with the blood of warriors. On one side, the Philistines, their ranks bristling with weapons and determination, stood ready to conquer. Their banners, emblazoned with the symbol of an eagle, fluttered defiantly in the breeze. On the other side, the Israelites, their hearts steeled by faith and the desire to protect their homeland, prepared for the clash. Their blue banners, adorned with the lion, symbolized their courage and strength. On one side stood the Philistines, a powerful force threatening to overrun the land. Their armor gleamed in the dim light, a testament to their readiness for war. The Philistines were known for their military prowess and their relentless ambition. They had come to this battlefield with a single purpose: to expand their territory and subjugate the Israelites. Their leaders, seasoned warriors with countless battles behind them, inspired confidence and fear in equal measure. The Philistine soldiers, disciplined and resolute, advanced with a sense of inevitability, as if victory was already within their grasp. On the other side, the Israelites, God's chosen people, prepared to defend their homes. They were a diverse group, united by their faith and their determination to protect their families and their way of life. The Israelites had faced many challenges before, but this battle felt different. It was not just a fight for survival, it was a test of their faith and their resolve. Their leaders, prophets and warriors alike, rallied the troops with words of encouragement and prayers for divine intervention. The soldiers, though anxious, drew strength from their shared purpose and the belief that they were fighting for a just cause. The Philistines had gathered at Aphek, a strategic location. Aphek was more than just a campsite. It was a symbol of their strategic acumen and their intent to dominate. The camp buzzed with activity as soldiers sharpened their weapons, tended to their horses, and prepared for the battle ahead. The leaders held council, discussing tactics and strategies, their faces etched with determination. The Philistine camp was a well-oiled machine, every soldier knowing their role and ready to execute it with precision. The air was thick with the scent of anticipation and the unspoken promise of conflict. The Israelites camped nearby at the spring in Jezreel, ready to meet the Philistine challenge. War was imminent. The spring in Jezreel was a place of refuge and preparation. The Israelites drew water, not just to quench their thirst, but as a symbol of their hope and resilience. The camp was a hive of activity, with soldiers checking their gear, sharing stories of past battles, and offering prayers for protection. The leaders moved among the troops, offering words of encouragement and reminding them of the importance of their mission. The Israelites knew that the coming battle would be fierce, but they were ready to face it with courage and faith. The stage was set for a confrontation that would echo through the ages, a testament to the enduring struggle between two great peoples. Among the Philistine ranks stood a band of warriors unlike the others. These men, though rugged and battle-hardened, carried an air of nobility and purpose that set them apart from the rest. They were not Philistines by birth, but rather a group of exiles who had found themselves in a foreign land, seeking refuge and a place to call home. They were David and his men, refugees seeking sanctuary. These men had followed David through thick and thin, through battles and hardships. And now they found themselves in the camp of their enemies, the Philistines. It was a strange alliance, born out of necessity and desperation. David, Israel's future king, was in a difficult position. He had been anointed by the prophet Samuel to be the next king of Israel, but his path to the throne was fraught with danger and uncertainty. King Saul, the current ruler of Israel, had become increasingly paranoid and jealous of David's growing popularity and success. Saul saw David as a threat to his throne and had made several attempts on his life. He had fled his jealous king, Saul, and sought refuge with Achish, the Philistine king of Gath. David's decision to seek asylum with the Philistines was a bold and risky move. The Philistines were Israel's enemies, and David had fought against them many times, but with nowhere else to turn, David hoped that Achish would see him as a valuable ally rather than a threat. Achish had welcomed David, offering him protection and the city of Ziklag. This gesture of goodwill was not without its conditions. In exchange for sanctuary, David and his men were expected to serve Achish and fight for the Philistine cause. It was a delicate balance for David, who had to navigate the complexities of loyalty and survival in a hostile environment. Now David found himself obligated to fight alongside his benefactor against his own people. The weight of this obligation weighed heavily on David's heart. He was a man of honor and integrity, and the thought of raising his sword against his fellow Israelites was a bitter pill to swallow. Yet he had to maintain the trust of Achish to ensure the safety of his men and himself.
How did I end up here? David wondered, standing on the precipice of battle, fighting against my own brothers. The question echoed in his mind, a constant reminder of the precarious situation he found himself in. He had always been a man of faith, trusting in God's plan for his life. But now he felt lost and uncertain, fighting against my own brothers. The battlefield was a chaotic and brutal place, where loyalties were tested, and the lines between friend and foe blurred. David knew that every decision he made could have far-reaching consequences, not just for himself, but for the future of Israel. He prayed for wisdom and strength, hoping that he would find a way to navigate this treacherous path and fulfill his destiny as the king of Israel.
As the Philistine army prepared for battle, whispers of doubt began to circulate among the commanders. They questioned David's presence. The air was thick with tension, and the camp buzzed with unease. The commanders, seasoned warriors who had seen countless battles, were not easily swayed by mere rumors. Yet the presence of David, a former enemy in their midst, was too significant to ignore.
Isn't he a Hebrew, our enemy? How can we trust him to fight alongside us? His past is filled with victories against our people. Can a man truly change his allegiance so easily?
What if he turns on us in the heat of battle? The stakes are too high. We cannot afford to have a potential traitor in our ranks. His loyalty is questionable, and our lives depend on trust and unity. If he betrays us, it could mean the end for many of our soldiers.
Their suspicions were understandable. David's loyalty was divided. He had served King Achish faithfully, but his heart still belonged to his people, the Israelites. The commanders knew that in the chaos of battle, old loyalties could resurface. They had to weigh the risks carefully. The decision to trust David was not just a tactical one, but a matter of survival. He was caught between his allegiance to Achish and his love for his people. The internal conflict was evident in his eyes, a man torn between duty and identity. David's journey had been one of constant struggle, trying to find a place where he truly belonged. The commander's doubts were not just about his past, but about the very nature of loyalty and trust in times of war. They had to decide whether to embrace him as one of their own or to cast him out, fearing the potential consequences of his divided heart. Despite the camaraderie he had built with the Philistine soldiers, moments of hesitation betrayed his inner turmoil. Every decision, every move he made was scrutinized. The commanders watched him closely, looking for any sign of betrayal. They knew that in the heat of battle, hesitation could be fatal. David's actions would determine not just his fate, but the fate of those around him. Flashbacks of his past battles against the Philistines haunted him. Each victory, once a source of pride, now felt like a burden. The memories of fallen comrades and the bloodshed weighed heavily on his conscience. He was a warrior, but also a man of deep reflection. The commander's doubts mirrored his own internal struggle, making the situation even more complex. As night fell, the Philistine camp grew quiet. Soldiers gathered around campfires, sharing stories and preparing for the battle ahead. David, however, sat alone, deep in thought. The flickering flames cast shadows on his face, highlighting the lines of worry and contemplation. He knew that the coming battle would be a test not just of his strength, but of his loyalty and identity. The commanders gathered for a final decision. The atmosphere was tense, every eye on David as he was called into the tent. The weight of their scrutiny was palpable. They had to decide whether to trust him with their lives or to send him away. The future of their army and perhaps the outcome of the battle hung in the balance. David walked out of the tent with a determined look on his face. The decision had been made. The soldiers watched him, their expressions a mix of curiosity and concern. The path ahead was uncertain, but one thing was clear. David's loyalty would be tested like never before. The battle would reveal the true nature of his allegiance, and the commanders could only hope they had made the right choice. Achish, however, remained steadfast in his trust of David. He'd witnessed David's loyalty firsthand.
David has been loyal to me. He has fought bravely by my side. He would never betray me.
Achish's words revealed the depth of his trust in David. He believed in David's character even when others doubted him.